All right, awesome. So let's continue on to the next phrase now. So I know you pulled this phrase out because you wanted to talk a bit about it, and I think this was a great choice.
Yes.
So, yeah, sucked into. Okay. So if you want to go ahead and read, I know you wrote this to practice using this phrase, and I think you did a fantastic job. I only have a few really minor comments on this one. Do you want to just kick it off by reading the first sentence?
Yeah, of course. We are living in a world now where we can get information and figure things out super easy thanks to the internet.
Perfect. All right, we'll start there. I'm not going to make you read the whole thing. I don't want to use up all your time on that.
Mhm.
So, like you said, and this is a true statement, right? It is really easy to access information, sometimes for better or for worse. But one thing I would recommend here is to do not easy, but there's a different way we would want to do this. Do you have any ideas?
Super easily.
Yeah. So,
Mm,
right, because it's easy to do something, but you can do something easily, right? So we just
right,
want to
right.
make that there. So I'm in suggesting mode like we
Mhm,
normally do. So it
mhm.
should be popping up as a suggestion. You can keep this or not, whatever works for you, but I want it to show up like this so you can refer back to it later. Okay. Right. And then so your next one, to be honest, no matter what I want to look up, I just search it on YouTube. I think you and half the rest of the world, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Generally speaking, I think YouTube is like that, right?
Oh,
I believe
okay.
so. Because if we go actually to YouTube, I think that's where their capitalization falls if we go to their
Gotcha.
website, right?
So even though there is
Are you
one
seeing that
word,
as well?
still like there's a capital T in it, right?
Yeah, that's how they do it. And I think it's maybe because it's mainly a website. Maybe that's why they have it as one word, just because their URL is like that as well. I'm not
Okay,
exactly sure. Mhm. But
gotcha.
right. And then moving on. So there are so many well-made video tutorials out there. So it is impossible not to be able to find anything. All right. So I know what you're trying to say here, but I think I'd like to recommend rewording it a little bit,
Mhm.
especially this part. Okay. Like you said, there are a ton of well-made video tutorials, but
Right,
the way that you kind of have it's impossible not to be able to find it just gets a little bit confusing in the wording of it. So is there
gotcha.
maybe a clearer way that we could say it to still have the same meaning?
Mm, it's almost impossible not to find any.
Yeah, and part of why this gets a little bit tough maybe is because it kind of has that double negative going on.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
that can just be really hard to understand, even for us as writers, right? Like if we're writing it, sometimes we get kind of caught up in it. So generally, I would recommend to avoid a double negative. So
Okay.
avoid a no, not type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could maybe rework this so that it doesn't have that. And so it's just like a clear, straightforward statement.
Okay.
So is there a way that maybe you could think to do that? So there are so many well-made video tutorials out there.
Mm, I cannot think of anything right
Yeah,
now.
well, I believe you can, but how about I'll suggest something to kind of get
Okay.
us started, and then maybe you could finish the sentence or something. All right.
Gotcha.
So there are so many well-made video tutorials out there that, sorry, that it is easy
Mm,
to,
something. Okay.
right? How about this? So you could even do what you already did, that it is easy to find anything.
Okay. I used to find anything. Okay.
Because that way, see, we don't have that double negative. So it's just a little bit clearer.
Right, right.
Easy to write and easy to understand. Because sometimes when
Gotcha.
I'm writing double negatives, I even get confused with what I'm
Yeah,
writing. And like, wait, is this the meaning that I want it to convey?
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So that would be my recommendation for that. And then, however, I have to admit that it is so easy to get sucked into watching YouTube videos. Yes. So, YouTube, same deal with the capitalization and everything that we talked about.
Okay.
But if you type YouTube like this, nobody's going to be confused. People are obviously going to know what you mean.
Okay.
Mhm. But if it's easy to get sucked into, okay, so sometimes I spend an hour on YouTube when I have a day off. I think a lot of people do, and probably more than that, probably an hour for days they are working and then more for days they have off.
Right.
But I think you did a great job kind of setting up to get sucked into. And so
Mm.
now that you've practiced this, do you want to share what it means, what you think it means?
I think basically, to spend a lot of time on something that is not like positive, like for example, negative, like for example, drinking or watching TV or things that you cannot prevent yourself from doing.
That was a really good explanation. Yeah. I think it doesn't always have to be something negative. Like you could get sucked into work. And
Mm.
I mean, I guess that could be negative at the same time, but it could just be anything that really, takes all your attention and sucks it in, right? You get sucked
Right.
into it. But you're right. Generally, it kind of has that negative connotation going on. So that was a good job picking up on that.